History is full of strange events, but some stories are so eerily coincidental, they feel more like a script than real life. These 5 bizarre historical coincidences will make you question everything you thought you knew about fate, time, and reality itself. What if I told you someone wrote the story of the Titanic disaster 14 years before it even happened? Back in 1898, a man named Morgan Robertson wrote a book called Futility. It was about a giant luxury ship called the Titan. It was massive. It was called unsinkable. It hit an iceberg in April and sank in the freezing Atlantic Ocean. Sound familiar? It should. In 1912, the Titanic, a real ship, set sail for the first time. It was also called unsinkable, also the largest ship of its time, also packed with rich passengers. And just like in the book, it hit an iceberg in April, in the same ocean, and sank. Over 1,500 people died, and that's not even the creepiest part. The 2 ships were nearly the same size. Both had way too few lifeboats, and both disasters played out almost exactly the same way. So, was Morgan Robertson psychic? Did he somehow see the future? Or was this just a terrifying coincidence? We may never know. But one thing's for sure, when fiction starts predicting real-life tragedy that accurately, it makes you wonder how much of our future is already written. What if 2 of the most famous presidents in American history lived almost the exact same life, a century apart? Abraham Lincoln was elected to Congress in 1846. John F. Kennedy, elected in 1946. Lincoln became president in 1860. Kennedy in 1960. Both were succeeded by men named Johnson, Andrew Johnson and Lyndon Johnson. Born in 1808 and 1908, and were just getting started. Both were deeply involved in civil rights. Both found their end because of wounds to the head on a Friday. Lincoln while he was at Ford's Theater. Kennedy as he was driven in a Lincoln automobile made by the Ford Motor Company. Lincoln had a secretary named Kennedy who warned him not to go to the theater. Kennedy had a secretary named Lincoln who warned him not to go to Dallas. Even the names Lincoln and Kennedy have 7 letters. Coincidence? Glitch in the Matrix? A weird loop in time? It's one of the most mind-bending historical overlaps ever recorded, and no one's been able to explain it. Identical twins separated at birth, who ended up living identical lives. Sounds like a movie, right? Except, this is real. 2 twin boys were adopted by different families in Ohio, United States of America. Neither knew the other existed, but both were named James. Both grew up loving math and carpentry. Both had dogs named Toy. Both married women named Linda, got divorced, and then remarried women named Betty. Wait, it actually gets weirder. Both had sons named James Allen and James Allen. One spelled with an E, the other with an A. Both drove Chevys. Both worked in security. Both took vacations to the same beach in Florida. When they finally met at age 39, it was like looking in a mirror, not just physically, but in life. Scientists call it coincidence. Others call it fate. But how do 2 strangers live the same life, down to the name of their dog? Some things just don't add up. What do you think? The Hoover Dam is one of America's greatest engineering feats, but it holds a dark and chilling coincidence. The first man to die during its construction was a surveyor named George Tierney. He drowned while working on December 20th, 1922. Exactly 13 years later, to the day the final death was recorded, it was Patrick Tierney, George's son. Same project, same date, same family. One beginning, one end. Out of over 100 construction-related deaths, what are the odds the first and last belong to a father and son? And on the exact same date. Call it cursed, Call it coincidence. But some say the dam took more than it gave, and it remembers. This one is wild. In the 1890s, a man named Henry Zieglin broke up with his girlfriend. Heartbroken, she took her own life. Her brother, seeking revenge, shot Zieglin, or so he thought. The bullet barely missed, just grazed his face, and lodged itself in a tree behind him. Zieglin survived. The brother didn't. Years later, Zieglin decided to cut down that same tree, but it was massive, so he used dynamite. When the tree exploded, it launched that same bullet straight into Zieglin's head. This time, there was no escape for him. 20 years. The bullet waited, like fate had unfinished business. Coincidence? Karma? Or something darker that finally caught up with him? Some call it chance, others call it fate. But the deeper you dig into history, the more you realize coincidence might just be a ghost in disguise. How many stories like these are still hidden, waiting for the right moment to strike? This was Weird History Vault, where the past is never truly silent. If you love these eerie historical oddities, subscribe to Weird History Vault. Which coincidence creeped you out the most? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget to hit that like button before the next weird twist in history finds you.